I think I have about 15 minutes just to quickly talk about what we've been doing. My experience essentially has been in financial services for over 25 years. And what we're trying to do now is build a financial services business within the agri ecosystem. Uh, it's obviously a tough climb, and I thought I'll just share with you some of what we've done and some of our learnings, what is the requirement for people who would aspire to do something similar, how they could go about it. Can we move forward? This is the classic dairy farmer, mostly women. The dairy farming activity is done by women in the rural households. So no formal access to banking. 70% of our customers have never taken institutional finance earlier. And 60% plus are women. So these are people who are just not able to access institutional money at all. We are the world's largest, we have the world's largest population of animals, but amongst the poorest productivities. So 2 animals with very poor yield, that's the classic. And informal loans, of course, is something that they have access to, and that can go up to huge rates of interest. So if you see at the bottom, 25, what is the impact of this industry in India? 7.6% of India's GDP is actually covered by dairy and livestock. 300 million animals, the largest population of animals in the world. 25% of our households are involved in dairy farming, and 50 million people like Geeta who have actually had no access to finance. This is a quick snapshot of the dairy industry. 540 million liters of milk gets produced every day, and out of that only about 140 million liters comes into the organized sector. So you can see that there is a huge area for improvement even within the industry, as we can get more and more of the milk into the organized sector. That will help improve income and yields. This is what Stellapps has created over the last 10 years. Stellapps has got equipment deployed in over 40,000 villages. What you see on the map is each of these is one dot, which is actually a village where we have deployed our technology. And 14 million liters of milk goes through the system every day. And over 3 million farmers are registered on this platform. So this is the backbone of what, on top of what we are building our financial services business. It's an embedded finance business within the dairy ecosystem. And it's a wide ecosystem. Some of you will be familiar. Most dairy brands are local, regional. Very few, only Amul actually goes, and Mother Dairy to a certain extent, goes across borders. So what Stellapps did was bring deep tech to the dairy ecosystem. It starts right at the farm. So there is technology, it's like a Fitbit, you can see, deployed at the animal. So it's sending motion-related feedback up to the cloud. And this is linear to the health of the animal. So there's an algorithm that we're developing, which actually can give us all kinds of preventive healthcare inputs. Very, very critical, because at the end of the day, this is the producer of the milk, and therefore the health is very critical so that she can earn more and more money. And these devices are available overseas, but they are at $50 a pop. We are re-engineering this for Indian conditions, which are obviously much more hardy. So this is in beta. We have our KYC facial recognition software that is also developed, and that is something that we can use for insurance, and there are so many emerging use cases for that. We also have an input business where we are providing agri inputs. We started with cattle, but we are providing now agri inputs to the same dairy farmers that we're dealing with. We are providing fintech services, which I'll talk about quickly, and the smart AMCU, which is the core of what we have deployed in 40,000 villages. I think there's a photograph coming up. And then the cold chain management software and hardware, that's all part of it. So this is the Stellapps DAN, as we call it, the digital access network. This is what we have spent the last 8 years in putting into 40,000 villages. And this on top, the top left-hand corner is the kit that actually is available. And this is picking up data, primary data from the farmer every day, twice a day as she comes in to pour milk. So now think about this. Most agri businesses see the farmer only once or twice a year during the crop cycle. We actually get to see her every single day, twice a day, because that's the frequency at which milk is deposited. And she comes in, deposits the milk, and the equipment will give her the fat and the SNF on the basis of which the price of the milk is set. And she will get a walk away with a chit, which tells her that she's earned so much money today. This is your fat, this is your SNF. You made 32 rupees 50 paisa per liter, so you've made 320 rupees or whatever she's made for that day. Now, on the back of this, all this data coming up to the cloud, we decided that we wanted to do something with financial services, because so we could analyze this and make something happen. The first thing was to actually try and give them money in their hands. So the first thing we've done is, with this data, we have a settlement software which settles at the dairy level, and the money is transferred directly to her bank account. Normally, this money would go as cash, as you can imagine, and they live in a cash world. So we are transferring it to the bank account. We are leveraging the Jan Dhan account ecosystem that has been so successfully built in India. And as a result of that, they get the money every 10 days or 15 days as per the cycle of the dairy. But they need a way to withdraw that money. So we also set up the banking services for them. We've tied up with various providers, and the customer can actually withdraw money sitting in the village. This is a game-changing situation on the ground. Their average ticket size is 900 rupees. And you can imagine these women would have otherwise not been able to get it, because women can't travel so easily in the villages. They would have had to go, even if they go, their husband will go to the city center somewhere, 20, 30 kilometers away and pull out maybe 5,000, 10,000 rupees at a time. This is empowering women in a manner which is unprecedented. And even as I see it over the last 1.5 years, I'm telling you, it's absolutely game-changing. Women getting access to money, to saving and to withdrawal within the village itself, within 100 meters of their home. They feel free and very safe to go and do this themselves. Sorry, I think I pressed the wrong button. So this is what we are building. There is the digital access network. On top, we've got all our software and hardware stack that is available at Stellapps. And the black portion is the financial services piece. So as I said earlier, it's an embedded finance business. We started with direct farmer payment, where we make payment and make sure the money goes directly into the farmer's bank account. And then think about it. Because the money is going directly into the farmer's bank account, we have the salary account of the farmer. Now, all of us who've been in banking know that salary accounts are the holy grail of lending. It's once you get the salary account that you want to lend. That's why all salaried people get easier access to money than self-employed, because at least the lender knows, tadak, the money is coming. And that analysis is what we are arranging for these people. And with that power, we are able to give them so many different types of credit. So there's banking services I spoke about. Obviously, there's our LOS, LMS. But the key to all this is the score. We've developed an alternate credit score called the MOVE score. We've developed this along with Equifax. It's a mathematical regression model, which is the best type of scoring mechanism that you can get. And on the basis of this, we are able to offer credit to all new to credit farmers. So the basis for this is their milk pouring history. It isn't the previous credit they've taken, because like I said, 70% have not taken any credit earlier. So it's not about that at all. So these are all subprime in our terminology. These are subprime farmers, and we are able to lend to them with the help of this credit score. It's working well. It's something that we developed, and we are now, really lending a lot of money on this basis. So now you can see, if you break down all the various, sections that you need to solve for credit for, I'm saying dairy farmers, this can obviously be translated into any other part of the agri ecosystem. You need a customer acquisition strategy, which works well. We have 2 million farmers. We have more than 3 million farmers now. So that helps us with our customer acquisition, keeps our customer acquisition costs down. There's credit underwriting. You need to be able to underwrite these farmers. Our MOVE score, as I told you, is helping us over there. Risk management, you have to get your money back, right? That's the first thing you think about when you lend, right? How am I going to get my money back? And for that, we have digitally monitoring their income every single day. And that is helping us manage our risk very, very effectively. Think about it. When you go to collect, if you are the first person in the queue, you normally get your money, right? When you line up to collect on any account, there will be multiple people who will be asking for the money. And the first person, early bird, always gets the one. We know even before she has defaulted that she's going to default. Because we know that she's not earning enough money to pay the EMI at the end of the month. And then we form the line, and we can actually go back and cure that whole situation very, very quickly. So we call it our lend and monitor model, where we are actually monitoring her income every single day and are therefore able to make sure that the payments come. So in the agri and in dairy ecosystem, for those of you who know, check bouncing for most banks, including the top private sector banks in this segment, is in the region of 30%. First check bounce, it cures over time because you don't know when the money is coming into the bank account. Our check bouncing is less than 8%. There are challenges. People have, they drop their milk, something has happened, animal something. 8% of people don't pay in the first instance. And we have to go in and help cure that. But what does that mean? What does that translate to? Because these are not people who are wanting to run away. They want the money. They're desperate for the money. It's the cheapest money. It's the easiest money that they can get in their lives. So at the end of it, we've dispersed crores of rupees. I'll just give you one data point. My entire NPA is less than 2 lakh of rupees. That's how good these people are in terms of payment, but you have to find a way to make it happen. So if you can get down there, you can monitor them, you can talk to them. If you can find a way to do this cost effectively, it's very, very powerful. I mean, we've seen it in the MFI world, but the MFI world still needs to go and meet the customer physically every day or every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever the model of that MFI is. We don't need to do that, luckily. We are seeing her electronically every single day. And all our collections come from the dairy. It's an entrapment model. The dairy has to pay the farmer every 10 days. So if they're paying her 3,000 rupees, our EMI is 1,000 rupees, we take our EMI and they pay the balance to the farmer. So that's why I said most of my payments come directly and we don't have digitally and we don't have to chase them down. Come, go forward. Oh, sorry, it's in my hand. This is just a quick slide on our scoring mechanism model. First, for those of you who may know, to build a decent score, decent model, you need about 10,000, 15,000 data points. We had 500,000. I just want to show you the robustness of the program. And from that, we've been able to get a scoring model, which, as I explained to you, is doing very well. So this is the range of products that we have. The first one, as I mentioned, is the direct farmer payments. That's the 101 of our program because we put the money into their bank account so we know when we can get our money out. Then the banking services, because you put the money into the bank account, they need to be able to access the cash. Then all the lending products, various loans, right from 5,000 rupees till 250,000. And now we are beginning to get demand for 500,000 rupees as well. So we are building products for that as well as the aging of the customers, as their experience with us is growing. 30% of our loans, in fact, come from existing customers. And then there is insurance and there is savings. Both of those are just beginning. Okay, we've been at it for about 2.5 years. We started actually just at the time of the first wave of pandemic, so we had to slow it down. And then the second wave, just after the second wave is when we again started building it up. So you can see these are the products that they need. These are customized for them. This isn't what the bank wants to sell. Banks don't want to sell anything under 200,000 rupees because it's not cost effective for them. We are giving them 5, 10, 15,000 rupees and taking that money back in 3 months, 6 months. We're even giving them 6-day loans and 7-day loans. Working capital, rather than they go and borrow it at, the borrowing rates there are 5, 10% per month. So rather than they do something like that, they can take from us at much cheaper rates. So I spoke about this briefly, the lend and monitor model. I gave you this data point. You can see the data is up on the screen. 94% in fact comes directly from the dairy. And it's a phygital model. We do have a small team on the ground because like I said, you need to cure, but you need to cure for 2, 3, 4%. You don't need to cure for 10, 30%. So we have a small team on the ground that goes in and does this. This is some of the support that we're getting from the ecosystem. These are names which most of you will be familiar with. I thought I'll just show it to you. There's a lot of support, a lot of people actively engaged, a lot of people wanting to get engaged. There's a big list of people who we are talking to for future business to start as well. But these are all early support from Jana Small Finance Bank, where I used to work, and Catholic Syrian Bank. And now Samunati coming in very, very strong with us. The bigger banks also. Kotak has been a big support. We have an integrated platform with Kotak. So just a summary slide, just to show you that these are all the various pieces that you need to keep in mind as you are looking to build a business. So lower customer acquisition cost. I told you that Stellapps has the network which helps. Data access and analytics, you need data. Without data, you're dead on the ground. Somehow you need to get that data out. We've obviously got all that data coming in to drive payments and therefore the credit score and help with our lend and monitor risk management. Very, very critical. Otherwise it becomes a little bit messy. What you will end up doing is you'll end up putting more feet on the ground. That's all it'll do. Now, whether if your model can afford it, depends what rates you're at. Those are the things that you have to think about. Sizable market, you need to have a big size market. If you're going to address something like this, it has to be a market of size. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to scale. As I showed you, we are at 7. Just dairy alone is 7.5% of India's GDP. And this dairy is a segue to the larger agri ecosystem that we are able to access now. Because once you're in the village, if I'm giving loans for one product, I can easily give them loans for other products as well. I know their credit, they've taken loans 5, 10, and then we can start giving them much more money. And that's what's happening. I mentioned, we thought that we would not get to giving them more than 200,000 rupees until the end of this year. But we already get so much of demand that we are building these products very, very quickly with some of our lenders. And we'll have it out by this month end. The risk and regulatory, I think, we are all suffering that. You have to be compliant. It costs money upfront, but you need to do this. Don't try and cut those corners. At that time, when we were building it, a lot of people told us, "Nahin, ye bhi ho sakta hai, wo bhi ho sakta hai." Maybe I'm just a little too old and too conservative. But I think it helped us in the long run. And try and leverage as much of the local infrastructure as you can, especially in rural. Very, very difficult otherwise to do this profitably, which is why banks essentially don't have. Like I said, for all the money that the government has spent, for all the money that the banks have spent, 70% of that population has never seen institutional credit. And I have data for that. I mean, it's not like I'm just giving you, this is something from the top of my head. We have absolute hard data that we present to all our lenders and to the board. you need that knowledge. Of course, that has helped us. The fact that Stellapps has been in the dairy ecosystem and in the agri ecosystem for so long, it means that Stellapps has a very innate understanding of that ecosystem. And that really helps us do this whole thing. And of course, the management team. So, sorry. So this is my last slide. You can see we are building right across all of these, the top, the right-hand side, 3 items are being taken care of by Stellapps at the core. And all of this is what we are building in our financial services business. And all of this is stuff in play. At various stages of development, yes, obviously payments is very well developed. We are in over 2,500 villages today. We are doing payments for more than 100,000 farmers every month, 2 times, 3 times a month sometimes. We have credit which is going, we are doing crores of rupees of credit. I gave you the data point, very minimal NPA. Wealth management in this segment begins with credit. We started with credit and we are seeing saving happening. I told you that women are seeing the empowerment. They're leaving money behind in their bank. They don't have to go and withdraw everything. That's the beginning of saving. The fact that they're able to leave money in a bank account because they don't need to keep it at home is an extremely powerful change. Don't underestimate what is happening in the villages. It's completely, it's happening, and it's happening at a pace which is unprecedented. We are opening thousands of accounts today for farmers, digital accounts, no sign of a branch. All our lives we have heard that we should have a branch before we will have accounts because people want to see a branch. But today we are seeing thousands of accounts being opened. There is no sign of a branch and never a branch is coming. But people are still willing to take it. Why? They want a modern account. They want the account which comes with all the bells and whistles. And insurance, a very, very critical leg, but extremely difficult to operationalize on the ground. We are doing it currently as an embedded along with the cattle. We are finding a lot of pickup, a lot of farmers coming back and wanting their non-loan cattle also to be insured. So all of that is going on. So change is happening. Trust, insurance comes with trust. So trust is building. So this is all I had. Any questions? Do I have a few minutes for questions? Anybody has any questions? I'm happy to take questions. You want to? Yeah, sure. Boliye. So we are working. So we are working on the tech side with dairy federations. On the credit side, we are working with a few federations, but it's not as active business. Most banks like to work directly with dairy federations, but dairy at the federation level doesn't do anything. Dairy at the union level also doesn't want to do anything. So if you can do it only at the village level. Okay, which requires a lot of feet on the ground, a lot of work. You have to convince hundreds of people. So it's a little bit, we have one piece of our business which is doing that, but it's not as active as it could be. I'm giving you a very frank and answer. I could have given you a very different answer, but I'm giving you a very frank answer. That's where it is. But we have some which are very progressive and are actually working with us to do this on a central basis. And it's transforming their lives. Correct. Yeah.
Or at the individual milk collection center
Correct.
level, he cannot comprehend this problem.
No, I've given it to you like this. He sees pieces of it.
Okay.
He starts with credit. Boss, आप पैसा दे रहे हो क्या नहीं? बाकी सब ज्ञान.
No, because he showed one photograph where this lady is putting milk into that system.
Yeah. So that system is available. That system is something is a standalone. Those systems are available. We can digitize from whichever system. We don't need to supply the full system ourselves, just to clarify. We supply the full system, but we don't have to. If you have an existing system, we can digitize from that. And some of them have got that digitization done and they have the data, but they don't know what to do with it. They're just using it to make their payments, that's it. But they have all that rich data sitting there which is milk pouring. There are all kinds of, there are hundreds of data points that are picked up for every milk transaction. All that data is not being utilized. So we can access it and take it. So we are working with some banks to actually access it and do work in the cooperative system as well. So limited work in the cooperative.
Any dairy under the NDDB, they are using the system?
No, not with NDDB at the moment, no.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sanket. My question is, have you done any geo mapping of their farms, or like farm areas?
So we are working, we are now looking to start doing that. See, at the moment, we are using the primary data that we have at the back end, so to keep costs down. But if you start going to the farm to map there, then you have to put boots on the ground. That costs money. That is only possible if the person wants to take 3, 4, 5 lakhs of rupees. It's not possible for below that. And then, of course, there are, there are some partners here also, Satshore, all these guys who've got data, which in some states it's available. The mapping is available. So we are getting there. The next level of loan will have that data and that data stream coming into our score as well. We are building the score for other data streams as well. So it is possible and we'll be doing that. There are people doing it. We'll just obviously work with them to do that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.